Once upon a time, in a cozy little house nestled in a quiet neighborhood, lived a little girl named Emily. Every night before she went to sleep, she would cuddle up with her favorite stuffed animal, Bedtime Bear. Now, Bedtime Bear was no ordinary stuffed animal. He was magical, and Emily knew it. Whenever she held him close, she felt safe and warm, and her dreams were always full of wonder and adventure. One night, as Emily was getting ready to go to bed, she noticed something strange about Bedtime Bear. His fur was glowing softly, and his eyes seemed to sparkle in the dim light of her bedroom. Emily gasped in surprise. "Bedtime Bear, what's happening to you?" she asked. But Bedtime Bear didn't answer. Instead, he hopped off the bed and beckoned Emily to follow him. Emily, curious and excited, got out of bed and followed Bedtime Bear out of her bedroom and into the hallway. As they made their way downstairs, Emily could hear the sound of the front door opening. She looked at Bedtime Bear, wondering where they were going. But Bedtime Bear simply smiled and motioned for her to follow him outside. Emily stepped out into the cool night air and was amazed by what she saw. The stars were shining brightly in the sky, and the moon cast a pale glow over everything. "Where are we going, Bedtime Bear?" Emily asked, as Bedtime Bear led her down the street. "We're going on an adventure," Bedtime Bear replied, his voice soft and reassuring. As they walked, Emily noticed that everything around her was changing. The houses and streets were fading away, replaced by a shimmering, magical landscape. "Wow," Emily exclaimed. "Where are we?" "We're in the land of dreams," Bedtime Bear said, his voice full of wonder. Emily gasped in amazement as she took in the sights around her. There were rainbows and stars, unicorns and dragons, and all manner of fantastical creatures. Bedtime Bear led Emily through the land, introducing her to his many friends and showing her all the wonders of this magical world. They danced with fairies, rode on the backs of dragons, and explored a glittering castle made entirely of crystals. Hours passed, and Emily was having the time of her life. But as the night wore on, she began to feel tired. "I think it's time to go home," Bedtime Bear said, sensing Emily's exhaustion. Emily nodded, and Bedtime Bear led her to a small cottage nestled in a grove of trees. "This is where we'll spend the night," Bedtime Bear said, as he opened the door and led Emily inside. The cottage was cozy and warm, with a crackling fire in the fireplace and a soft bed covered in fluffy blankets. Bedtime Bear tucked Emily in and sat down beside her. "Good night, Emily," he said, giving her a soft kiss on the forehead. "Sweet dreams." With that, Bedtime Bear settled down next to Emily, and the two drifted off to sleep, safe and happy in the knowledge that they would always have each other for company and adventure. But just as Emily was about to fall asleep, she heard a noise outside. It sounded like footsteps, coming closer and closer. Emily sat up in bed, her heart pounding. "What is it, Bedtime Bear?" she whispered. Bedtime Bear listened for a moment, then nodded. "It sounds like trouble," he said, getting up from the bed. Bedtime Bear quietly made his way to the window and peered outside. In the distance, he could see a dark figure moving through the trees. Emily clutched her blankets tightly, feeling scared. "Who is it?" she asked. I'm not sure, Bedtime Bear replied, his voice serious. But we need to be ready in case it's something dangerous. Together, Bedtime Bear and Emily crept to the door, listening carefully for any sound. As they waited, they could hear the figure getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a group of dark, shadowy creatures rushed in. Emily screamed in terror as they swarmed around her, but Bedtime Bear stood his ground. Get away from her! He roared, his fur glowing brightly. With a burst of magic, Bedtime Bear sent the shadow creatures flying across the room. They screeched in pain and fury, but Bedtime Bear was not deterred. He leapt into the fray, attacking the creatures with all his might. Emily watched in awe as her little stuffed animal fought off the shadowy beasts, his fur blazing with light. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the last of the creatures was defeated. Bedtime Bear slumped to the ground, panting and exhausted. Emily rushed to his side, tears streaming down her face. Are you okay? She asked, holding him close. Bedtime Bear smiled weakly. I'm okay, he said. But we need to be careful. The land of dreams is full of danger, and we can't let our guard down. Emily nodded, feeling scared but determined. She knew that as long as she had Bedtime Bear by her side, she could face anything. The rest of the night passed without incident, and soon the sun was rising over the land of dreams. Bedtime Bear and Emily said goodbye to their new friends and set out on the journey back to their cozy little house. As they walked, Emily couldn't help but feel a little sad. She didn't want to leave the land of dreams and all its wonders behind. But Bedtime Bear knew what she was thinking. Don't worry, Emily, he said, his voice full of warmth. We'll always have each other, and we'll always have our dreams. And with that, Emily felt comforted. She knew that even though their adventure was over, there would always be more adventures to come. As long as she had Bedtime Bear by her side, she knew that anything was possible. Finally, they reached Emily's house, and Bedtime Bear led her up to her bedroom. He tucked her in once again and gave her a soft kiss on the forehead. Good night, Emily, he said, his eyes twinkling. Sweet dreams. And with that, Bedtime Bear settled down beside Emily once again, ready to take her on more adventures in the land of dreams.